All right, let's go to the section, and we're going to add detail components and callouts to our section. So, and remember that we really only need to bother with the detail components in the framed part of the wall unless you've decided to add your foundations floor plan to this. Then you may want to take care of both the foundation wall information and the first floor wall framing information all in one. And I think some of you will have time to do that, which will be great. So the first thing that we need to do is we can activate this view so that we can draw this information right here in our section. We do need to make sure that we have joined the floors and the walls, and I did that in a prior video, but to join something, you highlight one of the items you want to join, click join, and then click the two items that you want to join together, and it will create a connection like we have here. Okay. I want to verify if I have the best section that I want to use for this detail component. So I'm actually going to go to my first floor plan and look to see where I have my section. Oh, looks like I'm out of view here. This is a good section, but let me see what happens if we pick up that section and flip it and pull it back to maybe here and include, I think we're going to be able to see the stairs beyond, and I think I'm going to like that section better. I do. I like it better. So we have a section through the bay window. We can see the window, cottage style window here, and then we can certainly see the stairs beyond. We can add our dimensions to the stairs beyond. So I like this section better. So get yourself a good section that you like working with, and then start from there. All right, starting from the bottom. And we may need to make adjustments here once we start plugging this information in. For instance, you see the walls are lining up with the outside framing, and they really should be lining up with, let's see if I can do that here. I want to modify, and I want to align using the outside face of stud with the wall. Perfect. So that's going to lock. I'm going to do that to all the other walls because that's what should have happened initially. So I'm going to go. All right, I made that correction throughout. This looks like we still have to make some adjustments. Let me select the floor system, and I'm going to edit type and see what we have for structure. So we have 11 1/4, 3/4 of an inch sheathing, 3/4 of an inch finish. And that's perfect. Okay, now I think what the problem is we normally, when we do this, we have the finished floor be equal to where the subfloor is. So I'm going to do the same. So that means I want to take my floor system and I actually want to raise it up 3/4 of an inch. And hopefully, perfect. See how that aligned that with what I've been using as finished floor or first floor is now equal to where the subfloor is. Okay, then what should fit in here, I'm just going to check to see what this dimension is set to. That should be 1.5 inches. It's only 1 1/4. So we just need to make an adjustment to this and make that 1.5. Oh, 1.5. Perfect. Okay. Now let's check that dimension. It should be exactly 1.5 inches or equal to the mud sill height, and we can add a mud sill right there to this detail. Okay. So I'm going to go to Annotate, Component. I want to add a detail component that's going to be Nominal Cut Lumber section. And just to remind you how I did that, if I go to Load Family and we go to the detail items under Woods and Plastics, Wood Framing, Nominal Cut Section Lumber, I can pick and choose the sizes that I want to load into the project. So all I did was pick a size and then hit OK and load it into the project. So this should be a 2x6 at that level. There's my mud sill. And then I need a 2 by 12 at this level, and it fits perfectly. That's exactly what we want to see. Maybe you have a double. That's okay. You can have a double if you want to. So if you have a double, just put another one next to that. Then we want to go back to a 2 by 6. Put that in here for a shoe plate. And then up here we would have a 2 by 6 subsill. You can have 1 or 2. And then up here we would have 2 double top plates. Whoops. And we would have to determine what we think we need to use for a header. So you would find your widest opening. So I'm going to go to the first floor. What's the widest opening in the whole thing? It's this window right here. If you select it, you find out what size it is. I think you might have to go into, oh, it's, let me go to edit type to find out what size it is. It looks like, let me see if I can get a total width here from Annotate Aligned. Yep, we'll save project. I want to see what the width is from there to, let's try it again. From, I gotta get in really close. There to there. 6 feet 2.5 inches. So you'd look that up. 6 feet 2.5 inches, a header supporting a roof only. What size does that header have to be? Okay? And that is the size that you're going to come up with for your section to put over your opening. All right? So I'm going to go back into component, and I don't know what size it is. I'm just going to guess. So I'm going to say maybe it has to be a 2 by 8. So notice I don't have 2 by 8 loaded here. I'm going to load family, go into detail items, go into woods and plastics, wood framing, nominal cut section lumber, and I need to grab a 2 by 8. So 2 by 8 from the list, hit OK, and then I can pop that in over my opening. Alright, so this tells you what we're going to have for cripple height here. So that's the resulting height that we have for cripple height. Now I'm not too satisfied with where these components are going, so I want to make sure they're aligned properly. So I want to align this with this and this with that, and that should put those at the right height and location. Now, what else goes inside of this wall section is insulation. So if we go back to Annotate and go into our insulation component, I can put insulation in the sill cavity here or all the way across. Now notice the insulation isn't quite right size, but I can change the width. I want to make that 11.25, and then it fills in that space, and I want to make insulation here. That again should be set to insulation. Insulation should be set to 5.5. I've had insulation up here. Let's go like this. We'll select the insulation and set that also to 5.5. And we'd have a double layer of insulation in our ceiling. So I'm going to choose the insulation inside or in between the ceiling joists, and another row of insulation right on top of that. So I can select that and copy it. Let's copy it from here. Just stack it on top of the first level of insulation. And then we'd actually move it over a little bit. Perfect. Okay, so this gives you an indication, and you can stretch that to go all the way across the section if you'd like. So let's concentrate now on the interior partition. So notice that the wall has not been joined properly with the floor. So we want to select the wall and join it with the floor. And then that creates a nice little connection. We want to put a component in here that's a 2 by 4 for our interior partitions. And since this is a bearing wall, we have to join these two also. So we're going to join this with this. So since we have a bearing wall, then we should have two 2x4s. Whoop. 1, 2. Whoop. 2. Oh my goodness. Keeps canceling it because I hit escape. I'm used to hitting escape in AutoCAD, and then it actually escapes from the this should be centered on the wall. There we go. That's better. Good. Okay. So this gives you an idea of how we would have a ridge board component in here. So let's add that. So we're going to put in a 2x, that has to be at least a 2x10, or it has to be bumped up to a 2x12 if you know that you're going to end up having to use 2x12s, and that ridge board has to be a 2x12 as well. It can't be any less than a 2x10, remember. And make an adjustment to that, make sure that's more or less centered. This can be approximate, you can just pop that in there. So now we have added all of the detail components, and now we can add the annotation. So I want to add annotation this time that attaches a leader. We can do a curved leader or a 2-segment leader. So I'm going to pick a curved leader that goes from this side, and starting from the bottom I'm going to point to my mud sill and call it out 2x6 PT mud sill. Perfect. And then we would call out this one would be a 2x12 header joist. And I can turn off my labels and just put in 2x12 at 16 inches on center. Again, verify if that's true. Make sure that you're looking up the spans that you have for your project. Don't assume that it's correct just because I'm putting it in here, because this is based on my project. And in some cases, I'm not even looking things up because I want you to know how to do it. Okay? So we would point to this and call that out as, how about this? We'll do 2x6 exterior wall construction with R22 insulation. Now that's a long sentence, so I would edit that, and you can make adjustments to it by just dragging it and pulling it over like that. Because remember, we got to get this to fit on our page that we're working with. So let's move that over a little too. Get that to take up a little bit less room. There, that looks better. Okay, then up here we want to call out our header size. So I use 2x8s. Two 2x8. Two 2x8 header. Typical. Because I'm going to use the same header size throughout my project, and this is going to be 2x6 top plate. And I'm going to call out my ceiling joists, 2x6 ceiling joists at 16 inches on center with R49 insulation. We do want to add pitch to our roof. We can add pitch to the roof under Annotate. You can see that we have a spot slope, and I don't want it to be a slope. I actually want it to be instead of an arrow, a triangle. And I'm going to put that here and flip it out like that. So it's an 812 pitch. Perfect. Let's put in rafter sizes, and I'm just going to rotate this text afterwards. So this is going to be, I think we end up using 2 by 10 rafters at 24 inches on center. And I want that to go along with the direction the rafters are going in. So I'm going to tilt that until it sort of matches the rafter direction and pop that right in there. Let's put in our overhang. And I can also call out what I'm using for finished materials. So I've got 1/2 inch sheathing. I have 3 feet from roof edge. Alright, let's just begin at the beginning here. Ice and water shield. From roof edge to 3 feet from roof edge. Perfect. Now that one doesn't need to be that long. Let's adjust it. So these are the types of callouts you're going to see. And then lastly, we want to have one more leader that identifies what are we using for our actual shingles. So I'm going to call out just our architectural, asphalt, shingles. This is a 2 by 4 interior partition. Let's put in the at 16 inches on center. What else? Oh, we need to call out our stairs. So I'm just going to point to the stairs, and we're going to say that there's, I think we ended up with 13 risers at, we had to look that up, and 12 treads at 10. Oh, we ended up with 8 inches, I think, right? That's good enough for your stairs. And let's see. There's a good example of what we want to see for our callouts. Now, if you would prefer to see these levels over here with where the annotation is, you can shut them off on this side and turn them on that side. That wouldn't be a bad idea. So we'll turn them on over here. Oop. Oop. Sometimes you got to get close enough for it to. It's weird. Turn it on over here. Turn it off over here. That's what was happening. We had a button right on top of the same location. Alright, so we've got our annotation all called out. I am going to turn on my crop region and bring that in a little tighter on this side. So it's going to just make the size of those, I think it's going to fit better, and we'll turn the crop region back off. And let's take a look at this in our section view. So we can deactivate this view. Oh, it's already deactivated. So that, I think, completes our section. That's the kind of callouts I'm looking for. So recognize that we were able to build this model pretty quickly in Revit, but I still want you to know what's in there, what's in that wall, and what size does that header need to be, and what size does this floor joist need to be, and you've got to figure that out. Your foundation wall height may not be the same as mine. You've got to check that out and figure it out. Maybe you don't want 7 foot 6 inch stem wall height, so your project may end up a little different than mine. And make sure you're making those changes, because I am going to be looking at that. That's what's the most important about this project. So you notice I didn't put any of the annotation over here or any of the insulation. It doesn't need to be. You've got enough information over here where you're calling out what's going on. So let's look at our checklist for our section, see if we've met it. So for the section, we want foundation dimensions and callouts. That you can take care of in your section detail if you have it in for the foundations in your original foundation handout. So we don't have to worry about that one if you're going to resubmit your foundation stuff that you did for me earlier in the semester. The exterior wall and construction callouts are and dimensions have been applied. When I say dimensions, we know the wall heights because of these levels. We have a 9-foot wall. We have 0 foot, 0 for a wall height here, and we are going down -8 foot 2 1/4. Now, if you did want to actually add dimensions to this, we could create a line dimensions that went to our slab, went to our subfloor, and then went to our top of wall, and we could add those dimensions. And that wouldn't be a bad idea to add those dimensions so we could actually see what those dimensions are going to be based on our finished. And then we could choose not to show our levels, but I think it makes sense to show your levels and the dimensions because then we can see the critical heights here. Now I did forget to add the top of wall, so I'm going to edit my witness lines and add top of wall dimension there. And now I have correct information for the floor plate thickness, and it's matching my levels that I have throughout the rest of the project. Alright, so that took care of that. Interior finishes are called out. One of the other dimensions you will want to add is gypsum wallboard and strapping. You can add that just like I showed you by using the text tool. Ceiling dimensions, we did that. Roof construction callouts, we did that. Roof pitch, yes, and stair dimensions and callouts. So that's what I'm having you, that's what I want you to do is make sure you use that checklist and call out everything and make sure you don't miss anything, because that's the way you're going to do the best on this project. There'll be some more other videos. I guess I'll make them based on the kind of information you guys need for the project, but for now this series should really help you throughout the final project in the critical moments. Okay?